me. Councillor Tamaki, would you like to join us? Thank you. Kia ora tātou. Welcome everybody to Otaronga District Council's extraordinary meeting this afternoon. It's really quite a special meeting for us all here. So firstly, I'd like to welcome Tremaine Murray to the room. Kia ora, welcome. Okay, if I could ask if Councillor Tamaki, could you start with opening karakia, please?
Mari ora te whare. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te. Kia mā kine kine te ta, kia mā taratara ki tai, kia hia kene te atāpura, e tio, e koe, e hau, ti hei, mauri ora.
Kia ora, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Councillor Wilson. You're one sentence short of being an apology. Hey, welcome this afternoon. We do have an apology this afternoon that there's Councillor Christensen. She's not very well this afternoon, which is unfortunate because she has been an alternate for this joint management agreement. So I'd like to move that her apology be accepted, seconded by Councillor Dow. All in favour? Very, thank you. There's no other late items, and unless there's any conflicts of interest from the councillors in this room, we'll move on to item 76, which is Te Nehi Nui Joint Management Agreement, and I'll hand over to Cassidy. Kia ora.
Tēnā koe te koro matua o tira koutou ngai kai kaunihera, mihi ana kia koutou, o tira mihi ana kia kōrua. Yeah, a little bit nervous, but excited. It's quite an extraordinary meeting, but just want to, I guess, acknowledge everyone who's put their time and energy into, I guess, today for us for Otaronga District Council, in particular Tremaine Murray, here as one of the representatives for Te Nehi Nui. So, tēnā koe tuahine. Yeah, in regard to the joint management agreement, the partnership moving forward with Te Nehi Nui. I haven't prepared a presentation, but perhaps just wanted to share some kupu around what this opportunity is and what it can mean moving forward for Otaronga District Council, but also our wider community and also our other partner local authorities in Te Nehi Nui. So the joint management agreement, although I guess at a base level, a legislated foundational agreement, it actually provides a springboard for change, for transformative change that's grounded in partnership and also grounded in this underpinning whakaaro that the whenua, that the why, that water and land is precious and a taonga to us, and therefore for the well-being of our communities moving forward, we also need to be putting our time and energy into revitalising our whenua and our wai. So perhaps I'll just leave it at that and maybe open up the space for any questions in regard to the draft agreement and also the terms of reference as well.
So, thank you. Just before we do move on, I'd just like to acknowledge the work that Councillor Tamaki has done in the space of getting this JMA together. Obviously with Katrina Christensen, Councillor in support as an alternate, but also the work that our Chief Executive Tanya has done, Andrew Lowe representing Otaronga Council on the working group as well, along with the work that Cassidy has done behind the scenes. So without the contribution of you all on behalf of Otaronga District Council, we may not have got to this point as readily as we have done. So thank you, and I acknowledge your participation in working with Te Nehi Nui and Maniapoto going forward, because for me, when I think about the journey that, so I use the journey too much, we're fully aware of that, but certainly witnessing the settlement for Maniapoto has been very significant. Being able to be a part of that has been a big part of my time as mayor, and I'll always acknowledge and hold that in high regard because it's a really good starting point for us as a collective of councils to work together collaboratively for the betterment of not just Aotearoa, but for the Waikato district. So it's really quite a powerful moment for us all, and very excited about what can be achieved through this JMA between all councils and Te Nehe Nui. So yeah, really cool. So that's just my overview on it. There's probably just a couple of points, Cassidy, that I was thinking about is obviously working in part of this agreement is working with the RMA, acknowledging that there could be a whole lot of changes within the RMA coming up very, very soon, or there is, and there's obviously going to be a whole lot of discussion points around that going forward. So I suppose we've got a starting point here, but acknowledging there's going to be a lot more work done in that space. The only other point reading through here, which I just came to my attention quite quickly, was the small quorum that's required, and that there's only 2 representatives of Te Nehe Nui and 2 from the 5 councils represented. So I feel that quorum's just a bit small, and I don't think it puts the true weight on the significance of this JMA. And I think the quorum should be represented by a greater representation from all parties. So that can just be noted going forward. If it was just for our council, 4 out of 10 would be fine, but I think 4 out of the bodies, the collective bodies, is not enough. There's my say on it. I'm really looking forward to the feedback or thoughts of others. So I open the floor to discussions, points and questions for Cassidy or whomever else is in this room that can answer those.
Through you, Your Worship, can I just explain the schedules before we commence, because I think there may be some questions around them. So, kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui kia koutou, tēnā koe, Tremaine, thanks for joining us. So we have the working group that sits under and reports to the joint committee have kind of, I guess, tossed back and forth the schedules. Do we complete the schedules and try and get them done by the deadline that's been given, or do we take our time and work through them in a more considered way? So in the end, we decided that for the latter, there's a couple that have been able to be populated, and they are around the RMA ones. Now, we've deliberately kept them as schedules because then they can be changed more easily than if they were embedded in the actual joint management agreement. So doing a variation to a schedule or developing a schedule is a lot easier than actually having clauses within a joint management agreement that you've then got to pull out and, you know, readopt, I guess, a whole JMA all over again. So that's where we've got to. We know that those some of those schedules need to be worked on, and that's why they are left blank. And I've seen some nods from Councillor Tamaki and Tremaine, so yeah, I'm on the right track there. So that's the explanation around the blank schedules, right? And if when the RMA changes come in, and we understand what they are, we can make changes to those schedules, right?
Councillor Dow.
Well, push my button. Yeah. Just going on those schedules, I was reading that there's a 12-month sort of time limit. I think that it's pretty ambitious. Like that noted, I think it's not something that's quite exciting what's happening, but to rush it, I think. So I'm not sure. If you try and do something too fast, sometimes you make mistakes. That, you know, you quite often make mistakes anyway. I just think that's quite ambitious, that 12 months in that agreement. And the other thing I sort of, don't know if it's a concern, but whether it's just the English language but an agreement, but it's sort of hard to have an agreement where you don't know what the whole agreement is because it's got schedules that aren't done. So whether the wording shouldn't have been memorandum of understanding or something like that, I don't know. But I don't know. It's just it's not a contract, I suppose. So therefore, it's But I think it sort of fits with my thing on the last meeting we were talking about, looking after the youth for the future, and it's basically definitely a future document that we start today. So I think it's really awesome. But I'd hate for those schedules to be rushed through to try and meet a 12-month period where it's not. That's kind of that's really what I would say. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Councillor. No, very good point, and I agree with you. I don't want it to be rushed. I think it's incredibly significant for all parties involved here. So, and agree, there's lots of words I think we could use in that space, be it an agreement, an acknowledgement, or whatever it may be. But I think for us, when we look at the treaty settlement and the acknowledgement that we need to be working to, or we should be, and we can do, and we will be working together, is probably the first step in what can be a really good working relationship going forth, acknowledging mana whenua, and hopefully we can just create a better opportunity. So yeah, I think it's wording. It could be just the English language, which trips us up at times, but it's acknowledging that we do have this opportunity to work side by side now for the first time in history. Anything, Tanya, that you need to add to that in terms of the work?
Just that I can take this feedback back around the quorum and also the schedule development. I did ask that Pātai at one of our working group meetings about the 12-month window and whether we thought that would be sort of long enough to develop up the schedule. So it may be that we have a look. In terms of endorsing or signing a document that isn't quite finished, we will bring back those schedules for council to, adopt as part of the addendum, I guess, to the joint management agreement. So we understand that you'll be interested in seeing those as they develop in the future, and we'll have representation around that table who's also, kind of keeping an eye on them and endorsing them.
Thanks, Tanya. Councillors, yes.
Oh, sorry, just to note that someone must have listened to your Pātai, Tanya, because there's in brackets it says all such longer period as agreed in writing. Yeah. So.
Anything further, councillors? Cassidy, anything further to add from your perspective?
I just want to really acknowledge all of the kōrero that's been shared, and happy to also support and Tanya taking this kōrero back. I absolutely agree that any of the decisions made moving forward should be given the due time to and due diligence to make the best decisions for our futures moving forward. So tēnā koe, Councillor Thao. But yeah, it's those are my thoughts. But it's been a privilege to be a part of this work and be here in a time where this kōrero can happen with the Torohanga District Council. So tēnā koutou.
Just before I do read out the recommendation, which I will read out in full because of the significance of it, just want to acknowledge Andrew Lowe's last meeting as a GM for Otaronga District Council. I haven't been in here long enough to add up the years. But it's a significant period of time. So, Andrew, thank you so much for the work that you've done in your capacity as a GM for our council over this time. Okay, before us, everyone, we have a staff recommendation. That is that the Otaronga District Council, the first part of his restructure the Te Nehi Nui Joint Committee and Waio Waipa Co-Governance Forum, A, endorses and accepts the following recommendations of the Te Nehi Nui Joint Committee, that in order for the Te Nehi Nui Joint Committee to discharge responsibilities more effectively and efficiently, it assumes the responsibilities of the Waio Waipa Co-Governance Forum in addition to its own, and the membership structure of the forum in accordance with the law by taking all necessary actions, including 1, executing a joint management agreement between 6 member agencies incorporating the responsibilities of the committee and the forum and the membership structure of the forum. 2, approving the amended terms of reference in Appendix 2 for adoption by Te Nehi Nui Joint Committee, incorporating provisions necessary to achieve the purposes of both the committee and the forum under the committee's name. 3, confirming the continuation of the current co-chairs and deputy co-chairs until and if the member agencies indicate new appointments in accordance with term of reference. 4, the disestablishment of the forum when all necessary actions to merge the committee and the forum are complete. And finally, draft joint management agreement. B, approves the joint management agreement, Appendix 1, and authorises His Worship Mayor Baxter and Council's Te Nehi Nui Joint Committee appointee, Councillor Tamaki, to sign the agreement on its behalf. I'd like to move this recommendation, seconded by Councillor Tamaki. All in favour? Against? Carried. All right, thank you. And can I ask you to close the closing karakia, please?
Maria no te whare. Kei ngoi tātou. Kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o tō tātou ariki au kuaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga taita, te wairua tō, āke, āke, ameni.
Okay. And on that note, I'll declare the meeting closed. Kia ora. We all depart, everyone, there's some kai through in the next room, so we can catch up and have food and maybe we won't have to worry about dinner.